Hello lovely beaders. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll show you how to make these elegant fan-shaped or shield-like earrings. They come together quickly, but the result is so delicate and eye-catching. Don't they just shine beautifully? Stay with me and let's bead together. Start the beading by stringing 32 pieces of size 11 delica beads. Always count the beads again. You may make a mistake while stringing and end up with fewer or more beads. Like me now. Bring the beads down on your thread and go through some beads to form a circle with them. Start a peyote row with the delicas. You are exiting from a delica. String one delica and go through the second delica from your circle. Repeat around. When making a bezel, you use tubular peyote stitch. Unlike flat peyote where you turn back at the end of a row, this one works in a continuous circle. But each row still has an ending point, so you need to keep track of where it stops. When you reach the last bead, you have to step up to start the next row. And to do the step up, you need to go through the last bead from your starting circle and the first bead strung in the new row. Start a new peyote row, but now with size 15 seed beads. Don't forget to step up for the next row. Go through the last delica and the first seed bead for the step up. Start a new peyote row with the size 15 seed beads. When you're short on time but you want to bead something, a rivoli bezel is always a great choice. It's simple to make, and if you know the right bead counts, it'll come together perfectly every time. For example, this 12mm rivoli is surrounded by 32 delicas, while a 14mm rivoli needs 36. Don't forget to step up for the next row. This will be the final row for the back of the bezel, and it's a decreasing row. Instead of adding beads in every gap, you'll only add them in every second one. So string a bead in the first gap, skip the next, then add another bead in the third gap. Keep repeating this all the way around. The back of the bezel is finished. Lead your thread to the other side of the bezel to start making the front side. Put the rivoli inside of the bezel and make sure the front side is facing up. Start the first peyote row with the size 15 seed beads. A simple rivoli bezel can be absolutely stunning with the right colors and beads. The secret is in the details. Neat beadwork and a well-matched color palette can make your rivoli shine beautifully. Even the simplest designs can turn into something special with the right choices. Don't forget to step up for the next row. Make a second peyote row with the size 15 seed beads. This second row will hold the rivoli securely in place. If you want to go further, You can add a star-like decoration in the next row. Add a bead in every other gap, but don't let the thread show like you did on the back. Instead, pass through the row below when skipping a gap. But for me, this row is the final row. The bezel is finished. You can cut off the tail. Lead your thread to the first row of delica from the back side of the bezel. Make a peyote row with delica beads between the delicas from that row. This row will stick out from the surface of the bezel, almost like adding little sun rays to it. This will be your first row for the fan. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Your support helps me keep creating free content. Every like, comment, and share makes a difference. Want to do more? You can buy me a coffee or check out my tutorials and jewelry. Links are in the description. Thank you so much for helping me keep this channel going. Step out from the first delica strung in this row. Make a peyote half row with size 8 seed beads. String only 9 pieces of seed beads between the delica beads. From now on, this will be a flat peyote stitch. We do not go around like we did until now. But it will be an odd count flat peyote, so you need to pay attention to the turns. String delica beads between the seed beads. This will be your third row for the fan. They will be a little loose, but do not pull the thread, let them stay loose. On the end of this row you will have the odd turn. You need to string one more delica, but you don't have a bead to go through with it. So turn back in the delica from the first row. Go through the seed bead and the next delica from the first row. Turn back in the delica from the third row, the seed bead and the delica from the first row. And now you can go through the last delica from the third row to start the new row. String 3 pieces of size 15 seed beads and go through the next delica. Repeat till you reach the end of the row. This seed beads will look like picots on top of the bigger seed beads. The last row is a simple delica row. String delicas between the seed bead picots. So pick up a delica bead and go through the 3 pieces of size 15 seed beads and repeat till you reach the end of the row. On the end of this row you will have the odd end again. You need to string one more delica, but you don't have a bead to go through with it. But luckily this time we don't need to turn back. We only need to secure the last bead. So pick up a delica bead and go back in the last delica from the third row. The earring is almost finished. We need to make a hanger. Lead your thread to step out from one of the middle delicas strung in the first row. You need to turn back in the first row delica, then lead your thread through the bezel till you reach the middle gap. String a size 8 seed bead in the middle gap, then turn around to secure it. I used a very thin jump ring that I threaded through the size 8 seed bead and I put the earring hook on it. If you don't have a thin jump ring, You can string 5 pieces of size 15 seed beads for a bead loop around the size 8 seed bead. Weave in the thread and cut it. You need at least 3 turnarounds before it's safe to cut the thread. If you cut your thread sooner, you risk that it is not trapped between the beads and your beading will unravel. Like I said, I have a very thin jump ring. I thread it through the size 8 seed bead. Then I opened the earring hook and put the earring with the jump ring on it and closed it. And here they are, the finished earrings. What do you think? Was it easier than you expected or a bit more challenging? And that's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you next week.